You're back. More lessons in basic reality? My favorite part of the...
6 kilometers southwest, in the Valley of Dogs, Junior Officer Chad Tilbrook takes aim at a rabid black dog licking its wounds in the grass. To his left, his partner, Emil Mullins, whispers, "You heard what happened to Tequila Sunset in Martinez?" "Yes, he lost his mind," Tilbrook answers, fingers on the trigger. "Don't worry, Emil." He pulls it out slowly. Slowly now. We always do.
You? You're an officer of the RCM. Preciso mundo. Nothing more nor less than the de facto law enforcement body of post-revolutionary Revachol, detective. Yes, that means not de jure. The RCM acts in what is poetically called the twilight of international law, both at the behest of the coalition government and to its chagrin. The RCM's responsibilities are defined by the Emergency, Wayfarer and Aliments Acts, 3 pieces of legislation keeping the city in a, let's be honest, laissez-faire stasis to the benefit of foreign capital. There's nothing basic about your role, detective. It's true that the RCM keeps everything the way our seemingly permanent provisional rulers like it. Yet, on the other hand, I know these people. I deal with them daily. Let me tell you, dear, they are not fans of you. The post-revolutionary decade was a disaster for the coalition government. Revachol in the 20s was hell, especially on the west side of the river. Gang warfare, a botched privatization scheme, a nuclear pile meltdown. They called it the international zone because no nation wanted to claim responsibility. The RCM restored peace where the coalition failed, a true blue citizens' initiative. They will never forgive you. So permit me to conclude with this. Who you are to me is the police, the only legitimate law enforcement authority in Revachol. And if those authorities drink so hard they need help recalling the basic terms of reality, well, I'm here to help. Nothing more nor less. Yes, that the RCM's response. The post. So permit me to conclude. And if those authorities drink so hard, glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know.
Oh, look. It's the cop who turned me into...
Ease into it. Don't go too far. This seems like a personal matter.
You really are the law, aren't you? I get that being bluntly observant and inquisitive comes with the territory, but it certainly doesn't help with your conversational skills, does it?
Maybe the full-on, direct approach wasn't correct. Damn, it's tricky business looking into someone's eyes and not doing it wrong. trap stands empty amongst the locusts, dazed from being transported, slowly begin to acclimate to their new surroundings. They're not really going to get the chance to get comfortable here.
Hello, dear. It's good to see a familiar face. Thank you for doing that, dear.
Her smile is weary. Her earlier ebullience has left her.
Morel still isn't feeling well. I convinced him to stay at Gary's to get some rest. I'm afraid the cold has really gotten to him. I'm sorry, dear. You've had to drudge through them so many times. Such is field work. A young person's game, as they say.
Her voice is shaky. What is going on here?
Morel will eventually, or we'll talk Gary into going back out, perhaps.
You've come so far. You can't leave those locusts there, waiting on the ghost reed with no one to witness when it appears.
No, you don't have to do that. Enough of this fool's errand. Morel will do it. Or Gary. You have work to do. I've wasted enough of everyone's time.
Be real. Gary is not going to help with this.
That really is too much, sweetie. Thank you for your dedication, but I can see you're coming down with a cough yourself.
Very strange. Why is she not letting you do this? It's like she's given up.
Different? How? I'm in doubt, sweetie. That's all. Everyone is now and then. It's a strange feeling. I haven't really told this to anyone, but you are.
And when a police officer asks, you must answer.
Do you ever wonder if some lovely story from your childhood is just that? A story? Or a dream? Seeing the Insulindian phasmid was just a story I used to tell people. I didn't really think about whether it was real or not. Morel's so proud of it. He always tells everyone.
A terrible sting in the heart. Regret.
No, at least I don't think I did, but Morel was so eager to believe my story was evidence of the phasmid's existence. That I'm some queen of the cryptozoologists. That. And for years his belief made me believe too.
That I am a queen, an extraordinary witness to grace.
But now we're both getting old and he's still working himself sick out in those reeds looking for it. But what if I was just wrong? I think I was.
An acorn is not the same as the tree. That requires time, diligence, and care.
But it is. We've spent years searching for the phasmid, hunting it together. Without it, what are we? Just if I hadn't led him down this path, he could have a steady job lecturing at a university.
You know, this reminds you of the Pericanassian theory of love. In essence, Love is a relay out of death. Generation by generation, our love remains in our progeny. Lay some of that on her.
Oh, sweetie, I don't think the Pericarnassians were thinking of people in my situation. I was a paraplegic before we met. He didn't know before I arrived, on our first date. If I weren't the queen of the cryptozoologists, if I didn't tell him that story...
She has to swallow to relax her throat. It's keeping her from talking.
Maybe. But then why do I not dare tell him? I've wasted enough of your time with this drama. I really must stop talking about it lest I start crying and waste more of your time. What you have to know is the Insulindian phasmid probably does not exist. Let us fools chase our ghosts. There are a million better things to do with your life.
Are there? Some of the other things are pretty bad.
A true believer. Sometimes I still see it too. The real memory of it, how it was there. Not the memory of the memory, but it's so hard to tell the two apart. Either way, I should go. Poor Morel is running a fever, and I need to get him home to Jamrock before we overstay our welcome with Gary. Oh no, thank you, but I can get there on my own. This old thing is gas-powered. And then a taxi home. It's not so bad. Oh, sweetie. Please don't get stuck on a dream. Take it from me and Morel. Okay, it's 1113 Tabernacle Road, Jamrock, but...
A sigh. She doesn't think you'll need it.
You too, sweetie. Thank you for everything, truly. Even though it turned out to be
A waste of time. A dream. A lie. A fool's hope. Say her lips moving in silence. Like that, she drives off. The gas engine putters quietly as she gets to the doors, then pushes them open. Outside, the cold, coastal wind blows. The trap is full of locusts, but they seem weak and unhealthy. A few lie on their backs with their legs twitching. Still, no phasmid. Poor things. You sit on the wind-worn wooden planks of the bench. Your feet ache.
waves are beginning to die down. Look at those little bastards. Simmer down. Simmer down, bastards.
Why does she care about the waves so much?
What is it with waves and fishermen? We need to be out there with them, fishing, making a living. So I asked them to accommodate me. But until that happens, I can try to assist you the best I can. So, what will it be, officer?
Oh yes, she does. You need to get your drink on. There is no other way for human beings to procreate. Not after 6,000 years of yeast cultivation-based mating rituals.
Okay. Where's this going? Absurdly and pointedly phrased. You can be quite funny, officer. Anyway, what did you want?
She doesn't even understand you asked her out. Perhaps you're too sober to pull it off right now. Try again later. The old woman still sits in her chair, continuing with her chores. As she does so, she quietly hums to herself. The buzz of electric lights blends together with the slow rumble of the ocean waves at night. There's a gap where the name of that song should be. You should ask her about it right now.
Yes, I can't really sleep anymore. Only a few hours a night. It happens when you grow older. My suggestion is, don't. Don't grow any older than you already are. That's old enough. What's troubling your mind? A lullaby my mother used to sing. I sang it to my kids too. It's an old Samaran children's song. Surrender to the night.
That's kind of grim for a children's song, even if it is a lullaby.
Yes, it does.
Just dead and dying locusts and the slow swaying of surrounding reeds. Poor things. A few locusts trudge along the wall of the trap. The rest are piled in a heap in the corner, dead. No, poor things. The trap is filled with dead and dying locusts. Most of them aren't moving anymore. You still can't see a phasmid anywhere. Poor things. A row of ghostly shades facing a crumbling wall. With another 7 shades, a cold There's some tear. It's getting cold, this late in the night. Time to call it a day. The bed is comforting, if a bit run down. Still, you've earned a rest. The bed underneath you is soft, if lumpy. Waves wash the sand underneath the hut, then grow distant to your ear. In the quiet hum of the organic heater, you fall asleep.
Like a deftly cast fishing net, sleep pulls you out of the world and into its dark shore. The rough mesh chafes, tightening around you, it digs into your brain.
How have things been going for you out there? Helped anyone lately? Saved anyone lately? Murdered anyone lately?
This bastard isn't even listening to you.
Because you know you are a murderer. A disco music listening psycho killer who offs poor people. And then forgets about it.
Hear that? You are naive to think he's afraid of his bloodied hands. Soul brother. Oh no. I see inside his amygdala and his hippocampus. The thing he's really scared of is much, much worse than that.
Don't tell him, sister. It's too bad. We're trying to help you. All these processes, these tortures, voices and tremors are all just distractions, flares and countermeasures to keep you from the last dream. The worst of them all.
The last dream will be total annihilation. Cinders peeling off the fuselage. We won't be there to help you anymore, Harry. We will be dormant. You will be naked and alone.
Of hell. An ancient sadness, brother. 10,000 years later, in front of the video rental, there is a warm breath on your face again. Everything is okay again.
Everything is so okay. Your eyelids flutter open for a moment. When you close them again, you sense the light of the room around you. You're back. In 2 seconds, the alarm will ring.
The last thought in your head before waking is, maybe you shouldn't have seen that stained glass window in the church.
Yes?
Only banal things strike you. At the core, you're a very banal person with a very small soul. One you should be ashamed of. It's no wonder the soft one doesn't want it back. It was right to abandon you.
What do you want to know? What's there to say? It's just stupidity. The cop kind. Our precincts can't decide if Martinez is part of Jamrock or the Industrial Harbor. Yours or mine, as if we somehow own parts of the city. Typical street gang mentality. So we've let the Union make a mockery of law enforcement here, and now it's come to its natural conclusion. Well, sort of. It's less a matter of who gets to police Martinez than who has to. It's an orphan district, in other words. I think the dispatch desk just told both our stations about the hanging. There was quite the brouhaha at the 57th, I can tell you that. Time to settle it, they said. Cop off. But I assure you, I am not their finest or toughest, with 102 cases solved. What I am is least interested in a pissing competition.
So he volunteered to represent the 57th, but not out of competitiveness. On the contrary.
Yes, I am an unrepentant spoilsport. Martinez? Nothing. It's just a puddle at the end of some drain pipe. No one cares about this place. They care about sports. Most of our colleagues don't even know how to get here. North of the interchange doesn't exist.
A tremble comes over you. Another after effect of ethanol poisoning, perhaps. Feels like leaves do when they rustle in the breeze, somewhere far away, below the turbine. The 41st and the 57th. The lieutenant was right. It's not about who gets what's north. It's about who doesn't. It's all part of the master plan, you see.
Okay, style me.
It's impossible to tell whether he's serious or joking.
In the new, 20 years ago, it's what a modern cop looked like then. Was there anything else you wanted to ask about the competition? If not, we should move. Yes, it's a wholly pointless matter. Forget I ever mentioned it.
He's actually glad it's addressed now. Because you're the best qualified. No, that doesn't seem right. If you're so well qualified, why can't you remember why you were sent? Anyway, don't keep the lieutenant waiting.
Yes?
Look at you. It's because you're a failure. They sent you to Slight, Precinct 57. Just think about it for a second. You're a raging alcoholic who showed up 3 days late wearing piss-stained disco garb. You weren't sent here to win.
I've considered it. It would be immensely ugly of them, not to mention unprofessional, but I also think it's somewhat unlikely. I checked the records. This jurisdiction dispute, who polices Martinez, reaches back to the 30s. It's as old as my station. And all this time we can't decide who gets Martinez? I think, yes, both stations would prefer a win. I am the finest of nothing. Safe? No. But you're old. You've made it this far. Something has brought you through. We've only just started working together, so I don't know what it is yet. But it's there. So no, I don't think they sent you as a joke. And even if they did, they are in for a surprise.
He's right. There are no airtight theories, just paranoia. You've given it some thought. Now let it go. The scruffy-haired little boy kicks a stone while the other watches him do it. This one doesn't say anything, kicking the concrete with his worn-out sneaker.
Lily's our mum.
The stone kicker laughs suddenly. His head is too large for his shoulders. The other one laughs as well. Wow, so intellectually stimulating.
Yes. Yes.
It doesn't look like he knows what that means.
You're stupid. Okay. Hello, mister. Yes, I am. Little Lily. You know my mom? That's nice. My mom is great. She's never angry or anything. Oh, I had gloves. Very big ones. Heavy, too.
Where did you get these gloves?
Found them when Lemmy and I were playing hide and seek. In an empty house. Where no one lives. I think
She doesn't want you to think she stole them.
I hid them. The twins were going to take them. They're stupid.
We're going to need those gloves. It's for important police business.
Oh. They're in my sandcastle. Behind our house. Under the sand. You can break the castle. It's not very good. Bye!
Is that the phasmid? It looks like the phasmid, leaning against the wall. Wait, what if this is the fishing rod situation all over again? Fine, it's not a phasmid. It's not even organic. Just a fire iron resting by the fireplace. But where's your sense of wonder, man? Weather has not been kind to Lily's little sandcastle. The once mighty towers are quickly eroding away. You can see something shining back to you from what must have been a vast underground catacomb network.
The little castle? The reigning lord must have come upon some really tough times to let it sleep in such decrepitude.
The walls and floors give way to the giant's greed, collapse and present you with a pair of ceramic gauntlets.
Congratulations. That's the gauntlets down then. We're doing good on the armor collection front.
Six crumbling petals rest on your palm. They're white, a bell-shaped crown.
This is the Insulindian lily, called Maybelle's or Lucille's tears during the Revolution. Girls used to pin these on soldiers before sending them off to battle.
This flower is a spring flower, but it's a bit early for that, isn't it?
The revolutionaries, so the communards and the anarchists. White's their color, but the custom started in the suzerain's army, so it held meaning for the king's men too. It's about girls and boys more than sides. Girls sending off boys who are going to their deaths, then also dying themselves in the ruins from dysentery and consumption. It's a symbol of the Civil War. Yes, but not this early, not to my knowledge. It looks dried, preserved. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see.
The petals feel dry and fragile in your hand. Water flows under the channel bridge, dark water. You rub your sides for warmth, but there is none. Inland, above the Martinez distributary, the channel that brought wastewater from the silk mills of Jamrock, and then dead bodies during the war. The wrinkled fingers of an old man crush flower petals, then sprinkle them in the stream like white salt. Wait, have you noticed there's a war veteran playing a ball game on the plaza? You should ask him about the flowers. You hold in your hand the colorful primer. The title reads, "A Primer for Small Kids." There's a bear involved. This book will show you the score, get you oriented with those basic concepts you appear to be hazy on. The anthropomorphic bear will give you the lowdown of your life. The alphabet. Every page has one word designating one letter of the alphabet, with a faded illustration. Most of them are scientific and cultural principles. It goes as follows. A is for azimuth. B is for Boreas. C is for cosine. D is for diamite. E is for ellipse. F is for phlogiston. G is for gamete. H is for homeboy. I is for econ. J is for Ura. K is for collapse. L is for laudanum. M is for myriad. N is for nadir. O is for aureole. P is for perihelion. Q is for quasar. R is for rhododendron. S is for sinus. T is for tricolor. U is for ultra. V is for vector. W is for Wahrheit. X is for xylophone. Y is for Ustava. Z is for zenith. That's it. You know the alphabet now.
Good. I also know the alphabet.
The bullet is still safely sealed away in a plastic bag bearing the RCM stamp.
Okay, and? An antique. That makes sense. There can't be many breech-loading rifles floating around in Martinez, or anywhere in Ravachol, really. Sure, there's some arms trafficking, but the laws prohibiting the use of breech loaders we inherited from the monarchy have been effective, from what I've seen. Some new RCM recruits get impatient with their muzzle loaders once they've trained with military-grade weapons, but they realize it's worth it in the end.
Prohibiting peacetime law enforcement to front-loaded rifles is a policy enforced by the Moralist International in all the nations of the Real Belt.
Imagine if everyone, cops, citizens, had access to firearms that could shoot multiple rounds without pausing to reload. After the first shot, the second, third, and so on come much easier. But back to the investigation. Mysterious? Okay. Either way, we'll know when we find the gun.
The porter reel is just what you needed. The reels attach to the apparatus with a satisfying click. The tape is routed behind the magnetic reader.
This isn't Ravachol. This is a fucking village. I can almost see the elephants.
The harbor. That's the son of a Kvalsund crane.
When this shit is done, I'm gonna tear that place up. Soldier of the Apocalypse style. Kill shit. Dogs and chickens too. Gonna run a room, Cordy. A real nice one. I don't give a shit. I'm fucking done. I'm done mentally. I'll fucking do them all in. Rape that disco cunt on the counter. You know, the dance a whore upstairs. Do it Kohoi style. Never did get that taste out of my mouth.
The lieutenant presses the button marked Arrete on your porter reel. The tape stops spinning.
End of recording. It seemed authentic enough. Probably recorded off the shortwave, then edited to seem more incriminating. He sounded like he was on patrol around the harbor walls. Still.
There's more going on here than we know.
Corty could be short for Cortenard, one of the other mercenaries, the one he was talking to. Probably the mountain at the harbor gates. Mr. Right to Work. A village on the Samaran Isola, in South Safre. Grad committed war crimes there, the kind of thing he talks about. Who knows? Maybe the tattoos would have an answer. We would need to know the story of this man's service.
A symbol of soldier of the apocalypse style conduct in a civil environment.
I think we've got a few more questions for class here, don't you? This seems to contradict her testimony, at least to some degree.
As you fold your fingers into a fist, you realize you could knock anyone out with one punch. The white ceramic gloves wrap around your digits comfortably. Your movements cause tiny little clicks, like dice rolling somewhere far away, as the plates reorient to your motions. The hardened vitreous enamel, at once sleek and voluptuous, adds a glow to your cheeks and a spring to your step. Just imagine what a full suit of this stuff could do for you. You really do feel more confident. Invulnerability does that. Even partial invulnerability. 2. Are you sure you're correct there? There was a helmet too. 3 pieces more like. You were ambitious.
And Mikhail noticed the windows, especially with how there are no windows on the south side. This was to deal with. You officers, come to investigate the historic subtext of West Martinez? I'm Tran Heilostam. You must be Kim Kituragi, right? I was just telling my son about this building. Not a lot of people realize the historic significance here. Very rich in hypertext.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, hypertext. Young Carp and the collection of cultural hyperlinks. Oh yes, so Mikhail. They had to deal with monitor glare, especially in the summer. They still had vector monitors back then. That was 49 years ago. So they didn't have windows on the south wall. No, I can't say that we've met before, but I've heard of Kim, of course. Mikhail, say hi to the officers. Mikhail's a little tired today. We spent all night trying to run Orbis on his radio computer. Have you heard of it? It's a programming language used in Grad. Quite tricky, but he wanted to play this Grad-made adventure program. We've been getting really into Worms lately.
The man speaks in the artificial cadence of a professor, or someone who's been on too many radio shows.
But I assume you're not here for giant worms when there are so many real things to see. Just as I was telling Mikhail before, this is where the Coalition landed in '08. We could be standing on what is the most interesting landmark in Revachol West.
This man is your half-brother. You feel it. But why? Well, get a load of this guy. He really enjoys his trivia. The Orbis programming language was named after its inventor, Victor Orbis, a cybernetician from Grad. They run Vox in the Occidental countries.
Aha! But it's not just any empty old building. What not a lot of people know is this used to be the R&D department of Felt Electrical. And Felt, which now sells ink cartridges mostly, was once a top dog in the turn-of-the-century cybernetics boom.
Hold on. What's R&D?
Apologies, it's an acronym for research and development. They don't use it anymore. You're probably more familiar with RTD, Research and Technological Development.
Mea culpa. You are not familiar with that one either. This man is a bookhead. It looks old and weathered, with seagulls picking apart its stone and metal carcass. Bushy undergrowth has taken hold of the collapsed rooftop. Some kind of bird has set up a nest on a broken windowsill.
That's not surprising. Only a vestigial ink cartridge and ferrotape manufacturer remains. They started out as a midway electronics outfit in Königstein 2 centuries ago. After an aggressive move to Revachol, Feld became a global player in the emerging personal electronics market of the pre-revolutionary era. Still, Tricentennial was beating them in business machines. But Feld had an ace up their sleeve, or should I say they were developing an ace up their sleeve. I'm mixing my metaphors here. It was here in Martinez, possibly in this very building, that they developed prototypes for Aha! But it's not just any. What not a lot of people know is this.
Hold on. What's R&D?
That's not surprising. They started out as a. Still, Tricentennial was beating them in business machines. It was here in Martinez, possibly in this very building, that they developed prototypes for a tape computer. An elegant folding mechanism of rollers and ferrotape ribbons, portable enough to be a take-it-home solution, revolutionizing business machines, possibly even bring them to the average consumer, which is a feat of engineering even today's giants, Rehm, ICN and ZAM, haven't achieved yet.
He assumes something like a combat stance, facing the wind.
Indeed. What?
The revolution!
Unfortunately, their moonshot project never made it to the market. Feld's move to Revachol backfired. The revolutionary government liquefied their assets and expropriated those very advanced prototypes, possibly from this very building, or one of the adjacent ruins. All of this was built by Feld, even the boardwalk. Wild Pines built Martinez proper as a resort for their middle management. Feld built this side of town for R&D. Yes, they even built a pleasure wheel, but that got destroyed in the war.
A pleasure wheel?
Perhaps reminded of a childhood memory. It's clear he would prefer there were a big wheel lighting up the coast.
Yes, to lure in their star engineers. This part of Martinez was nothing but reeds before Feld arrived. They had to make the prospect of living here attractive. It was supposed to become a global center for innovation in cybernetics. But history had other plans. Oh, I'm afraid it didn't end well for the boys. But this story is a bit too dark for little Mikhail here. Now, if you were to ask about tape computers...
He means that the boys got shot by the communists. The boys were bourgeois.
Tape computers. They used them for military communications, but also to write and send out press releases, the most notorious example being Le Décret de Mars. What's the Mars Decree? I mean the radio transmission sent out to news agencies and world governments by the newly created Commune of Revachol on the 7th of March in the year 02.
A short-lived legislative foundation for a short-lived utopia.
It's a beautiful piece of text, actually. A singer-songwriter I know, Charette, called it a love poem to Revachol on her political concept album, Bon Baiser dans ce Lind. You should read it. Every local library in Revachol stocks a copy of the decree. I tried to get Mikhail to memorize it. Tried to. Someone was much too interested in worms to be paying any attention.
The kid takes a peek at the green and silver worm on the cover of the book, already forgetting about this part of the discussion.
Actually, no one knows. No one even knows what a computer made entirely of tape would look like. But word has it, they were very elegant, exquisite, alien-looking turn-of-the-century hardware.
Buckle up.
10 years ago, I did a little freelancing, I guess you could say. I was a special consultant for an exhibition at the Wompty Dumpty Dum Center in Vredefort, Oranje. It raised the same questions, and we had lengthy discussions with Paul Ockerman, who was head curator at the time. This was before the twins Keith and Guy Juice joined the team, trying to...
Wait, did he just say Wumpty Dumpty Dom Center? He did it. He said Wumpty Dumpty Dom Center, like it's the most natural thing in the world. What the hell is a Wumpty Dumpty Dom Center? And who the hell are Keith and Guy Yost?
The Wumpty Dumpty Dom Center for Contemporary Arts. The exhibition itself drew on Lagerman's notion of memory, and so there were some parallels. That's why the head curator, Paul Ockerman, chose to... In fact, I'm not. The Wumpty Dumpty Dom Center is a place you can visit if you're ever in Vredefort and are ever in the market for an exhibition space / contemporary art research center. But perhaps I should return to the tape computers. As I was saying, the device itself was very elegant, fragile even. One could write directly on the tape using a special chemical solution. The machine would then analyze the handwriting, perform operations, and project output onto a white screen. It was a beautiful, delicate thing.
Made of black film and folding tape structures.
Even one would be very useful. Though I understand the socio-economic causes of the revolution, it pains me to imagine the revolutionaries setting fire to the precious device. But so they did. The Feld playback experiment vanished into the fires of '07. Yes, the official name of the prototype. Some sources report it as the Feld playback experience, but those are incorrect. Who knows? Maybe it was an accident, or maybe they didn't want the technology to end up in the wrong hands. Either way, they're all gone now. All 3 versions of the prototype. Nothing but debris and ashes remain inside that building. But of course, what else? I do have some money, yes, but that's not what's really important here.
He's not gonna give you money. What are you doing? Clearly you were just profiling. No, I mean, come on. You need the money. If it's not a thing, he can give you some.
Oh no, I don't have it on me, officer. I was talking in more general terms. I'm just spending time with my kid here, showing him around the lesser-known parts of our hometown. It wouldn't be wise to carry huge amounts of cash on such expeditions.
Not that he would have to worry about being robbed. He looks surprisingly buff. Does he work out?
I do some Lomantang stick fighting now and then.
Lo Mantang stick fighting is a form of martial arts originating from the island of Lo Mantang. It uses slender wooden sticks for confronting the opponent.
Actually, a great many cultures have their own version of stick fighting, such as the sacred Mabolo tradition of the Harli people, the name deriving from the butterfruit tree traditionally used for crafting the long, slender sticks, whereas the sticks used in other cultures...
You doze off as he paints you a comprehensive picture of the history of stick fighting among mankind, seasoning it with unexpected pop culture references. Man, he's good at speaking. People must love him.
But anyway, I'm boring you with details again. You were saying? Then I guess everything got said, right? The drizzle, it never seems to stop, does it? Sure, what's on your mind? But of course, no, thanks to you for having me and little Mikael here to pick your brain. A very interesting conversation indeed.
Pick your brain? If anything, this was rather one-sided. He did the talking. Whatever. You see, a slogan used to... A few locusts trudge along the wall of the trap. Poor things. The trap is filled with dead and dying locusts. Poor things. As you approach, the man turns and greets you with a polite wave. He appears completely at ease, like a common holidaymaker.
Ah, super. It's the officer. I was not expecting to run into you again, but things have a funny way of turning out, no? What brings you down to the scenic Martinez coast? Well, that's très simple. I was visiting the fishing village just north of here. They have applied for a series of microloans to revitalize the old market, and well, I wish to see the situation firsthand. And then, well, I had some extra time on my hands, so I decided to stroll down here. It's quite peaceful, isn't it? Yes. There's nothing like a stroll along the coast to lift one's spirits. Really? Here? How can you be sure? Ah, a very useful gift for a police detective, I'm sure. Fascinating how much history is contained right here, if only one knows where to look for it.
You feel like there's something you could say here, if only you really knew what was going on.
Ah bon? I'm all ears, officer. My friend, if it's la responsabilité you're after, I have good news for you. There's no need to form such a committee, because it already exists. The Comité de Responsabilité de Revachol, it acts as a sort of clearinghouse for coalition activities. To put it simply, they are the ultimate arbiters of la responsabilité in this part of the world.
Yes, this is just the sort of reasonable authority you're looking for.
I would offer to connect you with the committee myself, but alas, I am not actually in Martinez.
What? Where is he then? He's speaking figuratively. He means he's not in Martinez in his official capacity.
Précisément. Officially, I am still in La Delta, preparing for an upcoming conference on fuel oil derivatives. That's why it would be extremely irregular, or potentially even inappropriate for me to intercede with the committee concerning a district I'm not officially in. Yes, you've made your persistence quite clear. Under normal circumstances, I would have to insist you go through the regular channels.
No. You can't let them give you the runaround.
But if you have information of a vital interest, they might be willing to entertain an exception. In which case, I would advise you to contact them via Coalition Warship Archer. You see, in addition to being an airborne artillery platform, Coalition Warship Archer is also the linchpin of the Coalition's surveillance and communications infrastructure in Revachol. And listening. It has the most objective vantage point in the entire city. Not to mention a vast array of radio, photographic, and meteorological monitoring instruments. I find it a great comfort to know there are benevolent powers watching over all, in strict accordance with the Wayfarer Act and the Bristol-Mühne Convention. this is quite the problem. Very tricky. Of course, the Archer has orders to fire on any unidentified aerostatics that might approach it, so it might be safer to get in touch from the ground. But in that case, you would require a radio transmitter capable of broadcasting on coalition frequencies. And that kind of technology naturally isn't typically available for non-coalition use. Yes, it is a bit of a conundrum. I suppose there might be some way to circuit bend your way onto those frequencies, but you'd have to be one of those techno-tinkerers to do it. Unfortunately not, no. I don't have the pleasure. I am merely a representative of the coalition government, not very well versed in technology. But you?
Sounds like something that programmer we met in the church might be able to help with.
Let me just say that I have complete confidence in the RCM. I'm sure you'll figure something out. Always my pleasure to be of assistance to the RCM. Godspeed, and if we don't meet again, bonne chance.
Officer, care to play a game with the lonely old man? Actually, never mind. Wouldn't be the same.
A man so principled about his sandwich calls for a principled approach. Time to get political. You really do. Now, unleash the fury.
What the hell are you talking about? What foreign anarchist?
No time to bring him in. Just keep your eyes on the prize and ignore him.
I don't think that's gonna happen. Why would you even...
He won't kill. As long as there's food in his fat belly, he'll lick any boots that's kicking it to him.
Good. Rene's on board too. Time to take back the streets. Right-wing populism. Here we come.
Now you are talking sense, son. All four of us working as a group. We can make a difference.
Whatever you're selling there, he's buying it. In bulk.
I'm actually already a member in a group tasked to keep the streets safe. You are too. We call ourselves the police. Are you sure? 'Cause right now...
What do you mean, officer?
Ignore him. You are addressing the entire group now.
Agreed. What about the whole group? I propose a pair de la Couronne, Swords of the Crown, in honor of my old unit.
I'm sure we can come up with something with a bit more oomph than that.
It's dignified. We need dignity. And you, get excited.
His tone leaves no room for arguments. Giving orders is a second skin to the old carabiner.
All right, all right. I have a bad feeling about this. Oh, you went through all that trouble for my sandwich. I'm flattered, officer, but my answer is no. Now, how else can I help you? Officer, I just can't do this right now. The Union, it just doesn't matter anymore. The prick is gone. I can barely believe it, but he's really gone.
He is trying to retain his jolly facade, but the underlying sadness casts a deep shadow over his wrinkled face.
Hell, most likely. He was an absolute Kent. His hungry little heart finally gave out. The dock workers found him in the guard booth this morning. Wasn't even supposed to be working for another week, but he just had to prove how tough he is.
Wait, did he push himself to prove he can pull his weight and doesn't need handouts?
Guess he was about to head home, 'cause when the dock workers found him, he was wearing civilian clothes and not the Kuketu uniform I saw him in all the time. Sometimes I thought he was wearing it just to piss me off. Now the joke's on him, 'cause he's gonna be buried without it.
That means the uniform could still be in the guard booth. Something to keep in mind if you really plan to give yourself to Revachol.
No, René was the most stubborn man in Revachol. Nothing you or I could say would ever push him to do anything. The man was completely immovable.
He has doubts, but right now he just wants to move on and not think about it.
I repeat, an absolute Kent. Even his old army buddies didn't want him around. He was like an old viper. The only people who could stand to be around him were Jenny and me. She saw something in him when we were just kids and she never lost sight of it. And I thought if the most beautiful being in the world can love him, then there must be something worth holding on to. We've hated each other our entire lives. So much, in fact, that... Yes, I loved that angry prick. He didn't deserve it, but I did. You know what his last words to me were? In Guillaume's time, you'd have been shot without trial. That's what he said to me. He lived a Kent, and he died a Kent. Let's leave it at that. Let me see. This was 60 years ago. We all went to that parade. Young René looked so happy, and Jenny... I'm sorry, officer. I just... Thank you. Thank you for this little memorabilia. It really means the world to me.
That was nice. A small thing for us, but invaluable to him. He probably didn't even know René had the photo. Yes, we are both very sorry for your loss.
It is what it is. Part of life, really. But to know someone for 79 years, then one day they're just gone. I just don't know anymore. About anything, really. But you must need something. Yes? What about René?
Yes.
It is. I just don't know anymore. About anything. René wasn't really what you'd call a botanist, officer. And believe me, he didn't like Insulindian lilies. That's their old name, dating back to the time of kings and crests, and all that other stuff he loved so much. There were many reasons, but mostly it was the communals. They called them the Bells of Revolution. I guess in the end, the Insulindian lilies were just another piece of the whole Insulinde. The royalists had to surrender to the Mazovian insurgents. It doesn't really matter anymore.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out tool.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? It will take...
Gottlieb, what you get yourself into this time? I didn't, but now I do. How's the drinking going? Ah, great to hear it. Stop by sometime when you're done with your case. I'll draw some blood, run it through, let you know how much forever your liver's going to give you. Look, pal, getting pumped and dumped is not a disease. People live through it all the time. You should be happy for her. You must have me confused for a close personal friend. I am not. I am a medical professional with a constant idiot emergency on my hands.
One needs tending to right now, he thinks, looking around the room. God, these apes. You hear someone whine in the background. My eye, Doc, my eye.
Oh, it's you. I know a woman skilled at that sort of thing over in Jamrock, but I wouldn't want to inflict you upon her. Best of luck, detective. Mm-hmm.
Anything else I can help you with, officer? Sure, officer. What's the number? And the make of the armor, if you know it. Got it. I'll contact the ICP database immediately. Call back tomorrow. Hopefully they'll have dug up something useful by then. 57th. Oh.
In the cabin, you see...
Oh, look. It's the cop.
It's you again. What is it? Smart boy. You go do that.
Hi again, gendarme. Bye-bye, gendarme.
Officer, what brings you up here in the rain?
Soft, light brown eyes look back at you, directly into the space behind your eye sockets. You see the smoke rise from between her painted red lips. She's beautiful. I have bad news for you. You know these guys? Who? Me? Yes, you. He's talking about you, you boring stiff. You too. Me? What did I do? These guys are compromised. She's got them singing along to her tune. The little bleeps and bloops you trust for info. You can't trust them anymore. Believe it. There's no way of knowing. At the moment, I'm afraid it's best to assume. All of them. Bullshit, man. I ain't compromised. Especially that guy. That guy's the most compromised one in here. No fucking way, man. I just want a drag of that sweet menthol Ziggy. Really? Quick, tell me what's under her jumpsuit. Glory, truth, softness. Protect her. She wants you. I take it back. He's got it pretty bad. But this next guy's on another level entirely. She likes you. The crown head is a boring condom. He's jealous. This is human nature. How it always does, through subtlety. There's nothing you can do about it. You are how you are, and she is how she is. Things will go as they do. No. It's better to know you're being played than to be played without knowing it, is it not? Yes, Mr. Thespian here has been singing paeans to how truthful she is. She is a lady, most fair and just. In his defense, to reduce him to such inadequacy, she probably had to employ half-truths more often than outright lies. That is correct, and omissions too. A little. They're all still of limited use, interpreting things to the best of their ability. Maybe they add flair or something. I wouldn't know. I don't add flair. But when it comes to assessments of character and factual accuracy, they are not to be trusted, not with her. Don't be melodramatic. You can trust them, just not with Miss Orange Disco Dancer hair. A light green speck and imperfection on the outer rim of her right iris. It sparkles. You can't draw a sound conclusion. The one he usually does says, she may want to control the information rollout, not to become a suspect. She may have a past she's escaping, unrelated to this case. You doubt it's something truly insidious. See? It's oddly moderate, probably compromised. Don't worry, it's only been 4 or 5 seconds. You've got this. The silence broken. She exhales a little cloud of smoke and says,
God, no.
She puts her coffee cup down with a soft ring as the porcelain meets the metal table.
Did he? I never said he was a good man, or that he had good intentions, only that he was never bad to me.
She doesn't care. If anything, she sounds amused.
Where did they get this recording exactly?
It's intercepted radio chatter of the deceased, recorded via a de-encryption station. It's authentic enough.
Does he say he's gonna do it Soldier of the Apocalypse style? Yeah. That was practically his pickup line. Did he say whores a lot? Was he pretty much on the verge of doing it Kohoi style? He liked the way it sounded when he said it. As to Kohoi, he wasn't actually there. He didn't do a tour, or at least didn't tell me he did. Would have been overkill anyway. He lived his own little kohoi. It wasn't his everything.
Yes, was he bragging?
Oh no, I'm pretty sure he did all those things, then integrated them into his idea of normalcy, to keep on living, until they just sort of turn into his, what's the word I'm looking for? Running joke. I was gonna say running joke. And it sounds like you didn't even get the good bits. Lely's punchlines got way, way funkier than that. He was like the Seminoles conflict, the Kohoi massacre, and the 36 famine in Yezut all rolled into one person, then cast in Orani's ceramic armor, which he wore in bed and in the shower. Afraid of what? That tape the Hardy Boys recorded? Your mother probably never told you this, but girls are evil. Had I the physical robustness and social support, I'd be in Kohoi. I would be tearing it up Soldier of the Apocalypse style.
Did he tell you he had actually done any of those things? He and Martinez, I mean?
No. We were too busy laying waste to our own nervous systems to direct any of the fury outward. He seemed happy, I guess. At ease. As much as a man like him could be.
There is a small measure of pride in her that she could quell the rage in such a being. What kind of man was he? Before you go, ask for details. She seems okay to talk about it.
Thank you for clearing that up, miss. Whenever you're ready. I'm interested to hear what Titus Hardy has to say now.
She takes a very small sip of her coffee and smiles.
Like, for example, his name?
Actually, officer, I didn't know his name. I just called him Lely.
A nickname?
I guess. He came from Lelystad. It's short for that. And it was his army name, apparently. He said his real name wasn't his. I tried to pry it out of him, but it was no use.
Lelystad. That's a good start. We have a few questions you can help us with. A few things a field autopsy alone can't answer.
The young woman cranes her neck, trying to catch a glimpse of the page the lieutenant passed to you. On it is a list of autopsy observations recorded neatly in blue ink. The last missing pieces of a puzzle of flesh.
In Oranje, officer. It's, I think municipality is the term. A nowhere town there.
The Lelystad municipality has few boroughs and even fewer cities. It's made of agricultural plots near the border of Gottwald. Executive summary: cows, silos, and wheat. Oranje? Oranje's map of waterways? This fits with his tattoo.
You were almost right, officer. That means his race was occidental, not mondial. I'll update the form.
Yes, we were compatriots.
Did that bring you together?
No, he was too old for that. And from another part of Oranjenrek. I didn't even understand his accent. What brought us together wasn't Oranje. It was bad habits.
No love for Muta Oranje? Wasn't he a soldier?
No. He left the National Service after they taught him to do what he did on Seminine. He wasn't the flag-waving kind. He was the making money, killing people kind. He was by no means a stupid man. A people person. A small platoon leader. Certainly not a patriot.
A flash of rage comes over you. The words have already left your mouth.
Had he passed that test, we wouldn't have gotten along. Come to think of it, maybe it was our hate for Oranje that brought us together. I love Revachol, though. I hope she loves me too. He was 42.
42? Are you sure? I would have had him above 50.
He had many scars that made him appear older. But no. We even celebrated his birthday like some weeks ago. It was a funny 2 days. He had little reason to lie to me.
Looks like you were right, officer.
Points aren't good. Have one, you old dog, before we all die.
It isn't. Police work is a cooperative sport.
This is clearly sports for him. Something like archery or darts.
That's too pinball for me. I just like to get autopsies right on the first try. Where were we?
He's lying.
Blue. Light blue. They were like little blue galaxies, you know? It was strange, seeing those eyes in his fucked up face. Pardon the swearing. I do him an injustice. He wasn't ugly. And he had a beautiful, soft voice. Very surprising, what with all the scarring. It was quite something, watching him speak.
He had a combat wound on his chin and mouth?
Yes. Severe. It made him look like half his face was cracking away in some strange smile. That and those eyes.
Ah, yes. His hair, if you can remember?
It was light brown, almost blonde. He darkened it with brilliantine, made it oily. Not nice to stroke. I couldn't convince him to leave it alone.
No. Okay, sure. Here you go. What else are we missing, officer?
Oh, that.
It's clear she liked it.
Quite a lot, yes. Sure, service history. It was mostly for showing off to chicks, though. How? Imagine him lying in bed. Freakish musculature laid out on the sheets. Scarred, of course. Tattooed. The sheets are dirty for some reason.
Is this Orani's lit?
Yes. This is the very essence of Orani's lit. A moment's respite. Dark and hopeless as the struggle itself. He's smoking and drinking, of course. And his chest and shoulders and arms are studded with stars. Tens, hundreds of them. Maybe even thousands. And the woman goes like, "What was this, baby?" And he says, "That was too hardcore. Don't ask me about that." So she goes, "Okay, but what's this, baby?" And he's like, "Saw some bat shit there. Killed some loincloths." And so it goes. Star after star, port after port, third world country after third world country. And he's done horrible things in every single one of them. Oh, yeah. No, thank you. I've seen enough of him dead. I can tell you what they meant without looking at them.
Go on.
He was a blue-eyed boy with thick arms, from a small town. He was also poor, and the government of Orania needed some people killed, so they turned him into a grotesque killer. For money. He went to Killer Academy in Vredefort. Then he killed some people in the Seminine Islands. And on other islands, too. All of the islands. After this, he came to Revachol and got killed himself. Change of topic, perhaps? It very well could be, yes. What do I mean? I have no idea. I don't even know what you mean. Love did him in? What does that mean? That's not funny, officer.
Her voice is like a slash through the air. Her shoulders tense up. There, she momentarily lost control over straight back guy. It appears that she feels guilty.
Of course I do. I'm hungover. I feel guilty about everything.
Do you feel guilty about what happened to him?
Among many other things, yes. I could have done something. There's always something you can do, right? Ask me something else.
What is this? An interrogation? You didn't tell her this was going to be an interrogation.
A moment ago it was love. And no, I don't think the Union is communist. They're a couple of shades pinker than that. They're not hardcore in that way, is what I'm trying to say. What are we talking about anyway? This politics shit is a lot in the morning. Is it even morning?
I think she's just tired. She doesn't know what you meant by that. And can you blame her? You could blame her, a little. It was a pretty straightforward question that she refused to answer. The lieutenant blinks. His expression does not change. All right, let's see where this is going.
Cool. A real rainbow splattering of pharmaceuticals, I bet. Barbiturates, amphetamine, sildenafil. How much does the toxicology report cost the police of Revachol? I can do it for half of that. Save you some money, make some myself.
It's quite expensive, miss, but we'll manage without your help for now. All right.
Coolly, gracefully, she pours herself more coffee. Wasteland of reality. Congrats, you're sober. It will take a while for your body to remember how to metabolize anything that isn't sugar from alcohol. So you're going to be pretty ravenous soon. Eat plenty. You can expect your coordination and balance to improve in a couple of weeks. In 2 months, you might start sleeping like a normal person. Full recovery will take years though. It'll be depressing, and it'll be boring. Don't expect any further rewards or hand claps. This is how normal people are all the time. Wait, stop. That man, bloated beyond all recognition, was 42? Below the damage, the weeks of decomposition, all the swollen indignity of morality, he was 42 years old? How old are you? That's where this is going. 45,000 liters of raw alcohol has left its disfigurements. What lies beneath, you wonder? You could ask either one of them.
Huh? How old? 58? He was deceased. He had been decomposing for a week.
There's silence. Then a little more. Here it comes. Mercy.
Sure, you're 42. Let's go?
Wait. This requires scientific measurements. To the laboratorium.
It's you again. What is it? And that fucking fucker. You're the worst cops in Revachol. I gave you gold on that tape.
That fucker wasn't aimed at you. It was at her.
Locker room talk. What are you, fucking brain dead? I've been to plenty of locker rooms. They don't plan rapes there. What did she have to say then? Fine by her? This is what people are supposed to be like? Fucking whoop-de-doo.
I can confirm that.
I see what you're doing there. Let's push him.
She didn't? Well, whoop-de-doo then.
Yes. In fact, I think she thought it was a little funny.
Funny? No good goddamn psycho whore.
Seems like they wanted to give Claudia a second chance to play along. She still didn't.
Alright. All fucking righty then. I guess it's good then. That fucking...
Please try to control yourself in the presence of visitors, Titus.
Okie dokie. This is just perfect. Just fucking perfect. Any thoughts on this, lawmen?
Women are crazy. Irrational. That's what you're thinking, right? Also, your fists are itching for a bump.
I ask for your opinion, not a bedtime story. Tell it to your grandma.
But she didn't. She knows she can't lie to us, unlike you.
Oh no. He's definitely compromised too. It's his hubris. Sadly, not much to do about it now.
Fantastic. So now, you remember how to do your job. I'm so sick of this piss. We should get something harder in here.
Yeah, guys! We should get a party going tonight!
Why?
Maybe not then.
Success. They admitted to unlawful collaboration to derail the investigation.
You can say that again, copper. Right here.
Here we go. Bump it hard. Your fist connects with his. Hard. The slam is audible. You can almost hear his bones ring. Your knuckles tingle, life-affirmingly.
And now you, Bina Claude.
The lieutenant adjusts his glasses, then extends his curled fist and taps Titus's bruised knuckles. A bond has been formed. Not bad.
Nah, I know her. She's just a girl, in over her head. What kind of pro? Y'all saying she's a hooker?
No, he's not saying that. Forget about it.
Nah. What kind of...
No, he's not saying that.
Yeah, maybe.
He does not sound very convinced anymore.
I already told you. We fucking hanged him.
There's less gusto in his voice now. His men too are growing increasingly silent. The man is slowing down. Looks like a bad blood sugar crash. He can't keep track of all the variables anymore. Who could? It's getting harder and harder to perform one's part in this sordid play. All it takes is a nudge.
Come on, Titus. We know you didn't hang him. He was shot. I know you're tired. So am I. Why don't you just...
You know what? I am tired. I'm tired of you and the whore upstairs. Next time you see her, tell her Titus said,
Fuck off!
That lying, scamming. We're done. This is over. You understand? Your little investigation is over. Yeah.
On the floor, beer drips out of the can into a small puddle. No one does anything about it.
What is this quiet funeral shit? All we need is some beers in us. Bartender, 20 beers for the Dock Workers Union.
Why do we make it 40, huh? Why do we make it 100 beers? You're not loud enough.
100 beers? Now we're talking. Hoppity hop over here, cafeteria manager.
Clausia is playing them like a fiddle. Tell them how bad they got played, and they'll tell you the truth. There are many ways to go about it. All of them really good. Those are the other guys. My shit is solid gold. You can trust me. Oh, you don't like these arguments? Let's see you come up with your own then. Come on, everyone's waiting. Where are they? Why is Goldmouth mean to him? Something is wrong. It doesn't look like he's succeeding. Whatever. Just do the fiddle thing, sire. It'll be artistic. And if you've already done it, do it again.
What the hell are you talking about? Look around, cop. These men are dock workers. They don't want to hear about your psycho circus.
I don't know, boss. I'm always up for another suicide attempt.
Yeah, me too. I'm always up to see a cop cry.
You won't hear it. That's enough for the circus now, officer. Let's do procedural questions, or even, why not take a little breather?
These working class oafs don't know how to talk about feelings. You shouldn't have opened up to them, or anyone.